How does this thing work there again? There, I think I got it. Hey guys, so it's been quite a while. We've had some wonderful experiences to go off of. In case you're wondering about the bruised eye, that was his fault. He did it. Blame him. Anyways, so it's been a while since I posted an actual vlog. Yeah, so I guess I'll start from the beginning. I changed the intake on my engine a couple months ago. I think I did it last winter. Then finally, when I got my car out for spring, drove it a couple times, never had any issues. Well, just, I think it was Father's Day, whenever that is. I think it's in May or something, whatnot. I went for a cruise, and as I left my neighborhood, I went up into the mountains, and I was beating on the car a bit. Don't worry, I let it warm up. I did all that stuff. It idled for like a half hour before I started driving it, and then by the time I got to where I was going, it was definitely warm. I started going for it. If you wanna watch, I think it's my last video I uploaded. I didn't have any commentary or anything. I was just starting to vlog, and it went downhill real quick. Well, anyways, I went flying up the mountain, and I detonated piston number 6, like absolutely obliterated it. Like there was nothing left. You couldn't there was no possible way to reassemble the piston. Like it was just chunks of aluminum. So that put a hole in the cylinder block. If I can figure out how, I will post a picture some here while I'm talking of the carnage that ensued afterwards. Well, so that pretty much put an end to vlogging for quite a while, because, the car didn't run, and I didn't have any real options to fix it. Well, so my dad, being the hero that he is, he told me that we can rip the engine out of this old pickup truck that he had, and he started rebuilding when he was my age, because he's got other plans for it. So we had a little bit of father-son bonding. We tore his engine out, and we put it in mine. Now, if you'll notice, that's my same header and the same valve cover. I just put it on to make it look nicer. The other valve covers are just this disgusting, I wouldn't say the disgusting, but they're beat to hell. So I put mine on so it would look a little nicer. Not that it really matters. But, yeah, so that worked. I drove it for a little bit. I beat on it. It drove fine, perfectly fine. Well, then last weekend, I was just cruising. I just cruised down the highway to Wawa, because it was a good half-hour trip. I needed something to do. On my way home, I was just cruising at like 3,000 RPMs. I was going like 75 in a 70. And all of a sudden, there's this loud banging that goes hand in hand with whatever RPM I was at. Like it was slow and crazy when I was at low RPMs, and it was fast and psychotic at high RPMs, I guess you could say. So I went into PTSD mode, because I'm like, did I just grenade another engine, like doing nothing for once? And like in a panic, I'm like calling my dad. I'm like, what do I do? Like, I'm like in the middle of nowhere. I'm completely lost. I don't know what that is. But yeah, so that was fun. He pretty much told me if it drives, limp it home. So that's what I did. It never shut off or anything. So I limped it home. And again, I'm terrible at this. I already took it off, but yeah, I put a push rod through one of the rockers, and the other rocker broke. The bottom of it broke on the stud, so it turned sideways. I have a picture of that. Again, if I can figure it out, I will post it, or I will put it here so you can see that carnage. So now and then I was kind of confused. Now I have the car sitting on my wheel dolly so I can move it out of the way when I need to. But we are, this is going to be a pain in the butt to take off with one hand. We are going to change the push rods, not the push rod. Well, we'll probably have to change those too. But I bought a nice set of comp cams. I knew what it was. I had to relook. Of comp cams, rocker arms, or roller rocker arms to put on, because the old ones, I'll actually show you the carnage. I have them here. So this is one of them, and this is the other one. I'm assuming one caused the other one, but yeah, so I need to replace those. So that's what we're gonna do here. Now, this is not a tutorial of how to fix this whatsoever, because I barely know what I'm doing. So this is pretty much just a vlog to keep you updated with what kind of shenanigans I have. So yesterday I pulled that off and I took the spark plugs out, because to set valve lash? No, that's probably, I don't know what that is. I don't know. To take all the play out of the valves, we're going to need to crank the engine over by hand, which should be fun because there's not a bolt in the harmonic balancer to this, or the crank, or I don't know, what do you want to call it, in the crankshaft. So I'm going to have to figure some way to turn this by hand without using a big wrench. Should be fun. Stay tuned. But so yeah, I will go into a time lapse of me pulling the valve covers off, taking the rockers off, all of them, pulling all the stuff out. And we'll go from there. Alright? Sounds like fun. Zeus is excited. Let's get to it. Alright guys, so this is take 2 since my GoPro decided to just randomly shut off at 1 minute and 28 seconds into my last little rant. But anyways, so this is what I pulled off. This is one of the rocker arms. I think it's probably just the stock original one. I don't know. I think this engine isn't anything like my other one was. So I'm going to say probably the internals might be a little different. The crank is, or the crank is obviously different, because if it's a 350 crank, it's a 327 engine. It's not the same. The crankshaft is probably different. The heads, I think, are pretty much just stock GM heads. Anyways, so yeah, we went from this stock piece of garbage that decided to just fail to we're now going with this. This is a Comp Cams roller rocker arm. It's a ratio of 1.5. I'll talk about that for a little bit then. But yeah, so we got this nice cast piece of aluminum. It feels like it's pretty good quality. I'm not really certified or qualified to, you know, review things like this, because I have no idea myself. This is my first time. And for those of you out there that are thinking, why don't you just use the same rockers from your old engine? I had that thought too. I tried it, and fun fact, the through hole here, right here, they're different sizes. My last engine was, I think, 7/16 diameter. This one's only 3/8, so I had to buy new ones, which I'm not really complaining about. I got to learn some things, which I'll share those with you. One sec, we'll be right back. I got my 12-inch calipers. I figured it'd be funny. It's not, but I'm not funny either, so here we go. So when you're looking for new rocker arms, for one thing, you need to know what size through hole you need for the stud in the engine. And my screen just went black, so I'm going to be very mad if my GoPro decides to shut off again. Anyways, so when you're trying to figure out what size or what rockers to get, you need to know the ratio, which luckily, or I shouldn't say luckily, this one tells you, it shows you right on, I don't know if you can see that, It says 1.5, which is what I needed. That's another fun fact. That's the factory dimension for rocker arms from a GM dealer, from a GM vehicle. Sure, whatever you want to call it. Anyways, so to figure that out, what you do is you have to measure from the fulcrum, which is the pivot point of the rocker arm, to the center of where the push rod goes in the back. This is very hard because there's no defined fulcrum here, so I looked it up and kind of just guessed. But I assumed they were stock. They look stock. They're just cheap garbage, so they're probably 1.5. 1.5 ratioed, which that, you get 1.5 ratio from dividing the distance from where the rocker arm touches the valve to the fulcrum. You take that distance and then you divide, you get that and then you divide the distance from where the push rod goes to the fulcrum. So 6th grade math is not doing me too well right now. So you divide the front from the rear, and that should give you roughly 1.5. They also make them a 1.6. I seen 1.7. I thought about a 1.6, but with my luck with my last engine and this engine so far, I'm like, what are the odds that we decide to kiss a valve if we do that? So I played it safe and I just went stock because, you know, I'm terrible at this and it's just wonderful. It's fun. You should have been here 5 seconds ago. I tried fitting the other rocker on just to see if it would fit. I went to pull the push rod out just to look at it to make sure it wasn't beat up or anything. Apparently at both ends of the push rod, they're kind of like mushroomed a little bit, so it's fatter right at the end than the entire rod. I pulled it not knowing that. It got stuck on the little hole in the block and fell through the head into the block. I almost lost it. I almost threw everything that was in my hands and I went to sit down and cry. Luckily, I have this little magnet doohickey that fits in there, and thankfully, I somehow, on my first try, pulled it right back out, or Devin was going to be furious. Anyways, so yeah, you take the front and then you divide the back from the front, and that gives you your ratio. So you need to know that, and you need to know the diameter. I think that was pretty much everything I needed to know to buy new ones. Pretty simple, one of the more simple things I bought. I hope. We'll see what happens. But yeah, like I just previously said, I took the new rocker arm and I just set it on there. I didn't tighten anything down. It looks like it's going to fit. So, I'm going to give that a shot. I will time-lapse me putting them on again. And it's getting relatively late. And I go to work. I wake up at 3 and go in for 4. Because, you know, overtime's wonderful. I'm going to put these on. Actually, I lie. I'm going to put some kind of lubricant on these first. Then I'm going to put them on. And I'm just going to snug everything up. And then tomorrow, I'm going to actually start cranking the engine over and checking all the lash and everything in it. So stay tuned for that. That should be fun. Hey guys, so I'm back. It's not actually the next day. It's the next week. Because Devin, in his infinite wisdom, forgot he needed to order new push rods with the new rocker arms that he bought, because he bent 2 of them and they are now useless. So instead of just buying 2 new ones, I figured we're just going to replace all of them so we don't have issues. Plus, these are better quality than those are. I think they have a bigger through hole, so more oil can get through. So yeah, that's what we got in store today. And I thought about it. I'm not going to time-lapse me putting everything on and taking all the lash out, because this video is already going to be like 20-some minutes long, and I'm sure nobody wants to sit through all that. So I will do all that, and I will pick back up when I try to crank it over and see if we can get this thing started. All right? See you guys in right now. All right, guys. So it's the moment of truth. I put all the rockers on. I put all the new push rods in. I took all the lash out and I tightened it half of a turn. I think I'm only going to go half a turn now, and after I heat cycle it and I break them in, I might go 3/4 a turn. I don't know how much of a difference that is, but we're going to have to see if I can even get this thing started. It's not freezing cold out, but it's a little chilly today. So yeah, I have everything buttoned up, everything plugged back in. I didn't put the air filter on because why do I need that inside? Yeah, so let's give this hell. So I'm going to pump the gas a couple times and start cranking and see what happens. Let's go for it. It made noise. It made noise. It's a little chilly. Oop, had a backfire there. Just a little guy. Not doing too well. Sit here for a while. Actually, I'm gonna let it sit here for like an hour or so. My neighbors are probably gonna hate me, but I'd rather it run in the garage than drive it on the street and break down half a mile away from home. So I'll let you know how we make out. All right, guys, so you heard it. I got it running. Surprisingly, I was expecting more problems than that. I was actually kind of expecting it to not start. But yeah, so it starts, it runs. I let it idle a little bit for a half hour. Then I played with the throttle a little bit. I talked to my dad and seen what he thought, and he told me, don't adjust it yet. Take it out and drive around the block a couple times. It'll actually put some strain on the engine other than just sitting here and revving it a little bit, and slowly break it in. He said you don't really need to break that in. I don't know. I don't necessarily see what you would really have to break in other than taking all the play out of it once it's been heat cycled a little bit. But yeah, so I'm going to end the vlog with that. I guess you'd say we ended on a good note. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna, off camera and off vlog, I'm not gonna film it. I'm gonna take it around the block and then a couple times, actually, again, put some load on the engine. And then I'm gonna readjust the valves. If you really care how I adjusted the valves, drop a comment or something, let me know, and I'll make a video of me readjusting the valves. It's actually a lot more simple than you would think, so yeah, like I said, drop a comment and I'll make a vlog for that if you guys want. All right, until next time, see ya.